I'm here to talk about how you're supposed to use or represent the intellectual property, also known as an IP, of others on platforms like YouTube. So when you're using or representing someone else's intellectual property on platforms like YouTube, you are expected to follow proper legal procedures and ethical standards to avoid copyright infringement. So in a simple term, this typically means securing permission or through a license or direct approval from the copyright holder, especially when the material will be used in a commercial or a public context or content. Creators can also use their content that falls under open licenses, such as those involved in the Creative Commons framework, as long as they follow the specific terms such as attribution requirements. If you plan to use content under fair use, such as for commentary or for criticism, the content must be transformative, limited in scope, and not negatively affecting the original work's market. It's never acceptable to assume that crediting the creator is enough to use the content legally. Also, creators should avoid using unlicensed watermarked material or copyrighted music without permission, as platforms like YouTube can detect even minor modification. So this goes back to a little bit of talking about how YouTube handles copyrighted music. So just to avoid any problems, you want to be able to use your own music, your own licensing, just to make sure that there's no issues. So some ways that you can avoid this problem and make sure that you have no issues when uploading something on YouTube, you can use public domain material, or you can subscribe to a royalty-free media library, which is often the safest route for content creators, because if you're subscribing to things that you're allowed to use, you won't have any issues with the property that you're using, or even going back to having materials that you shouldn't be in there that aren't licensed to you. So if you have these things to your library, there won't be any issues and everything will be much smoother.